Hey everyone, welcome back. Mr. Jonas here again. We are moving this week from the British colonies, which we've been talking about for a couple weeks, and the colonies of Jamestown and Roanoke, um, to the French colonies, which we are going to talk about the French and the Dutch colonies, which one of which is really important to us, and we are going to find out why today. We're going to talk a little bit about it when we look at the map. And after you complete the watching this video, just per usual, you're just going to comment on Google Classroom your choice of two things: either define one of the bold vocab words, or to to define one of the bold vocab words, or to add in one thing that you learned from watching this video, one thing that you didn't know before, or maybe even just one thing that maybe you knew before, but you thought was really interesting. So I'm going to take my face off here, and we'll go to the reading today. So this is core lesson 4, the Dutch and French colonies. And we are going to start reading here. We're going to look at a couple of vocab words right here. So our vocab words for this chapter, there's only 3 of them this week: diversity, tolerance, and missionary. And as we go, they'll be in bold, and we're going to highlight those and define what those 3 words mean. So we're going to start with New Netherland. So it says the Dutch settled in what is now the northeastern United States. We're going to take a look at that on the map in a minute. So we'll come back to that. So try and remember that. So remember that in the 1500s and 1600s, European explorers claimed land in North America. Henry Hudson made land claims to the Netherlands on one of his voyages. The Dutch called the land New Netherland. The first settlements in New Netherland were fur trading posts. In 1626, the governor of New Netherland, Peter Minuit, bought Manhattan Island in present-day New York from the Manhattese Indians. He started a settlement there called New Amsterdam, the capital of New Netherland. Minuit also set up a colony for Sweden on the Delaware River. New Sweden lasted for 17 years before it was taken over by New Netherland in 1655. So that's something that's pretty interesting. So present-day New York was originally called, I'll highlight it, New Amsterdam, because it was settled by the Dutch. So that'll be interesting. I'm sure that we'll come back to that and find out a little bit more about why it's not New Amsterdam today, why it's New York today, and what the change was, and why that happened. And right here we see a picture of Peter Minuit. I'm sorry, right here, my cursor's is malfunctioning a little bit. So right here is Peter Minuit, and he was the first leader of New Netherlands. Okay, so right here we can see the Dutch and Swedish colonies. So here is New Amsterdam, New York, and here is the Dutch colonies here. And I know you can't see it because of it's not in color, so it's hard to see, so that's why I'm pointing out to you. So settlers in New Netherland. The Dutch West India Company was an important trading company in the Netherlands. The owner of the company controlled the New Netherlands settlement. The company bought some families to North America to farm, but few people from the Netherlands wanted to move across the Atlantic. The company looked for settlers from other countries. They welcomed all people, no matter what country they came from or what region they practiced. New settlers added to the diversity of New Netherlands. So diversity is the variety of people in a group. So basically, this company welcomed people no matter what country they came from. They did not have to be from the Netherlands in order to live there. So the population included German, English, Swedish, French, and free and enslaved African settlers. In 1647, Peter Stuyvesant became governor of New Netherland. Stuyvesant was a harsh man. He made laws that angered colonists. Unlike most settlers in New Netherland, he did not practice tolerance. Tolerance is respecting beliefs that are different from one's own. So tolerance means that we respect beliefs that other people have. So we don't have to agree on everything, but it means that you respect it. You can. It's okay to not agree with everything. We talk about this pretty often. We don't always have to agree. We're not always going to agree with our friends or our classmates, but it's important we listen to their side and respect what they're saying. So Stuyvesant did not want settlers with different religious beliefs in the colony. So in 1664, English ships sailed into the harbor at New Amsterdam to attack the settlers of New Amsterdam. The settlers of New Amsterdam were so unhappy with Stuyvesant that they refused to fight the English. The Dutch colony of New Netherland became an English colony. The English renamed New Amsterdam to honor the Duke of York, and they called it New York. So here is our answer we brought up earlier. Highlight this whole section because we brought this up earlier. So the English attacked New Amsterdam and they took over the city and they renamed it so now they were English, they were from England, they were going to name it after one of their own. So they renamed it New York after the Duke of York. So now this is what we really want to focus on today because it's most important to us because it has to do with Michigan. So this is New France. So in the early 1600s, the French claimed land in present-day Canada. The land was called New France. Few settlers lived there. Its cold climate made farming difficult. Most settlers were young men who worked in the fur and fishing trades, and they lived near the fur trading post of Quebec. Missionaries moved to New France as well. A missionary is a person who teaches his or her religion to those who have different beliefs. So missionaries from France taught people of present-day Canada about Catholicism. They built missions throughout New France. The fur trade. Animals with thick fur, including beaver, fox, and otter, lived in the forests of North America. French merchants made money selling these furs in Europe. Fur traders traveled through New France to talk with Indians. People of Indian nations gave fur from animals they had trapped to the French. In exchange, the French traded goods such as beads, tools, pots, knives, and cloth. The French formed a partnership with the Huron and Algonquin who lived near Quebec. The Huron and Algonquin were at war with powerful Iroquois, a group of 5 American Indian nations, French fur traders, a group of 5 American Indian nations. French fur traders led by Samuel de Champlain fought with the Huron and Algonquin against their enemies. So if we scroll up here, I know that this map looks difficult, or it's hard to read because it's not in color. So what I'm going to do is highlight the section that of New France. So it's like roughly here. And I'm saying roughly because I know that I'm over in some spots, and I see I have to like include New York, but New France looks something like this. Go back and erase a little bit here. Because it's kind of like goes all the way up here. Okay, so it's kind of like that. And when we look at the map, what we see that's really important that is highlighted is this part right here, especially to us, is Michigan. So Michigan was founded as part of New France, and Detroit was founded around this time, and so this is a really important part for us because the fur trade is part of our history, as a state of Michigan, New France and the fur trade. So it's something that we're going to talk about more in class, but for right now, I just want to update with you. So Michigan was originally part of New France. So exploring the Mississippi. Jacques Marquette was a missionary in New France. In 1673, he traveled by canoe down the Mississippi River to set up missions. Louis Joliet, an explorer, joined him. Joliet thought the Mississippi might lead to the Pacific Ocean. Robert La Salle also explored the region in 1682. He claimed the Mississippi River and all the land around it for France. La Salle named this vast area Louisiana after King Louis XIV. So this is something that years down the line is going to be really important when the United States makes the quote unquote the Louisiana Purchase, which we'll learn about later on a long time down the road. So a while down the road, but something that might be important. So let's remember that. So here's a summary of the lesson right here. If you want to go ahead and follow along with this. So there's more European colonies than what we've already learned about. New Netherlands started by the Dutch. New Sweden started by Minuit for Sweden. New France settled by fur traders and missionaries, which we want to include Michigan. Okay, so now what I want you guys to do, go back into Google Classroom, add your comments, what you think about what you learned about, and one thing you learned about, or one of the bold vocab words, which we scroll back up to the top, were diversity, tolerance, and last but not least, missionary. Okay, so I hope everyone has a good weekend. This will be due by Tuesday. This will probably be our last homework assignment before break. We might just have 1 or 2 questions next week to answer, but last major homework assignment before break. So if I don't talk to you, I hope everyone has a happy holiday, and I will, and parents especially, I'll talk to you guys when we come back from break. So get this done by Tuesday, and have a great weekend. Thanks. Bye.